My name's Karen Walker. I'm a non-exec director at Bradford Teaching Hospitals Foundation Trust, and I am also the Freedom to Speak Up NED champion.
Hi, my name is Victoria Webb and I am a trustee at Ashgate Hospice in Chesterfield, and my focus is on freedom to speak up.
Nicholas Campbell-Watts, I'm the Freedom to Speak Up non-executive director at King's College Hospital Foundation Trust.
Freedom to speak up is really important to me because it creates a culture of psychological safety, and that means that people feel that they've got a voice and they can speak up.
It doesn't matter whether it's a complex matter or something in relation to service improvement or the way in which we work.
Having an open speaking up culture in the NHS is vital for patient safety.
I was attracted to the Freedom to Speak Up role as a trustee for a number of reasons. I've been working as a senior leader within the healthcare sector for a number of years, and over that time there's been various occasions where we've had to speak up as part of that process.
Freedom to Speak Up was established in the first place because there were concerns with poor patient care being uncovered, and very often the story that lay behind that was that staff had attempted to raise concerns, and where they had, they'd suffered detriment as a result.
Freedom to speak up benefits everybody across the organisation. It benefits people from a wellbeing perspective, and it benefits patients from a safety perspective.
My role as the Freedom to Speak Up trustee within the hospice is to support the Guardians. We will look at putting together annual reports and also kind of like promoting the freedom to speak up throughout the organisation.
Our Guardian, Sue, amazing lady. I've built a great relationship with Sue over the years. We talk regularly. She has my number, I have hers. If she needs a second opinion, she can call me. If I need to understand something, I can call her.
Our Freedom to Speak Up Guardian is an extremely experienced Guardian, and her role is to really drive speak up, listen up and follow up within the trust. And my role is to really ensure that that is getting driven at board level.
I make sure I'm visible around the trust and that I'm accessible as well. People recognise that I will be supportive if they need to escalate anything. I've had a recent case that somebody felt that they'd suffered some detriment as a result of speaking up, and I met with the individual several times and we talked about the ways that that individual could be supported by Freedom to Speak Up.
My role requires me to bring a degree of supportive, independent challenge for the Chief Executive, the Chair and the Board and the Exec team around whether we can, as a trust, do better in raising the profile and culture of speaking up. Speaking
up is really important, but so is listening up and following up. For me to be able to carry out the role successfully, there's so many resources and so much support. So I do feel incredibly well supported by the National Guardian's Office and by the Freedom to Speak Up Guardian within the Trust. There is a website, the NHSE have a website, the Guardian's Office has a website.
And it includes things like the reflection and planning tool, guidance for leaders.
And that specifically details the role and the expectations of what you need to undertake.
There's a very new leadership competency framework delivered by NHSE. We have board assessments and self-reflection tools that we've worked through at the Trust as well.
Another valuable resource is the Speak Up reviews that are done on the National Guardian website. There is shared learning that can be applied across many organisations.
It helps that I sit on the Quality Committee and the People Committee, because then I can help to triangulate some of the data that is coming from us from things like the National Staff Engagement Survey, WIDNES and RES and the Friends and Family Test, as well as some of the information coming from staff networks, to really look at whether I can see themes that are relevant to Freedom to Speak Up, but also where I can take away some of that triangulated data into the conversations I have with Jackie as the Guardian.
There's a monthly newsletter, there's a bulletin for Guardians, and lots of resources about historical cases, sharing best practice.
The Speak Up, Listen Up and Follow Up training has been really useful within our organisation, and we've really embedded that throughout.
Leadership is really important in freedom to speak up, so creating that right environment, and it's everybody's responsibility. Everybody on the board particularly, not just the non-exec director who's responsible for freedom to speak up.
My top tips for a trustee for freedom to speak up would be firstly to really engage and get to know the guardians within the organisation. You need to be accessible in relation to providing advice, but they need to also have that regular contact and check-in with you, whether that's on a quarterly basis or monthly basis.
Really think about how to be visible as a Freedom to Speak Up NED, to make sure that you are always wearing your lanyard, which is important, but also that people within the organisation know that you are there and what your role is as distinct from the Guardian, and that you are at board level trying to drive a culture of speaking up, and you are there also to ensure that staff don't suffer detriment from speaking up.
So it's really, really important to be able to look across all of your people data, your survey results, your exit data, your bullying and harassment cases, mediation cases. So look across all of your people data and have that conversation regularly with the board. Make sure that everything we're seeing, understanding that landscape, is bigger picture.
The other thing I would recommend is to reach out and connect with other non-execs who are carrying out that same Freedom to Speak Up role, to be able to share some of the learning, to be able to exchange ideas, and to be able to kind of help build a network so that we can kind of provide support and advice to each other.
Create a culture where it's safe to speak up.
Establish good working relationships with your guardians within your organisation.
Be really visible, wear your lanyard, and make sure people know what your role is and how to get in touch with you if they need to.
Make sure your name is in the Freedom to Speak Up policy.
Use the privilege of sitting on the board to the advantage of freedom to speak up.
Work with your guardian to promote Freedom to Speak Up in October.
Freedom to Speak Up forms part of the well-led review by the CQC. As a non-exec director or a trustee with responsibility for freedom to speak up, make sure that you seek out that inspector and share your experience of freedom to speak up within your organisation.
Keep up to date with advice and information on the National Guardian Office website, and also follow them on social media.
It's really important that people feel they can speak up, but as leaders, it's up to everybody across the organisation to listen up and follow up.